Okay, so now let's continue with the next part of this topic, which is on production possibilities curve. Okay, so this is another term for production possibilities curve is production possibilities frontier, okay, which is basically the same thing. So what is PPC? It is actually used to explain the three terms that we have learned just now, okay, which are scarcity, choices, and opportunity cost, using a graph. So we are going to elaborate, or we are going to illustrate the three terms using a graph. So what does it mean by PPC? It is a various possible combinations of goods and services produced within a specified time period with all its resources fully and efficiently employed. Okay, so what does it mean here is you have to put yourself as a producer in the economy. Okay, right now we are looking at decisions that you have to make as a producer when you want to produce a particular product. So let's say you want to produce two products, but you have limited capital, you have limited resource, okay, you have limited amount of fund, okay, for you to produce the two products. So if you want to produce more of one product, you have to reduce the production of the other product. Okay, so what are the possible combinations of production for the two products? Okay, we are going to look at in this production possibilities curve. So we are looking at a graph lah. Okay, so let's say you are given this table. Okay, so assuming country Jaya, okay, you have one country here producing two products, sewing machine and butter. Okay, sewing machine is a capital product, butter is a consumer product. Okay, so let's say you want to produce these two products, and these are the production possibilities. Okay, these numbers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 possibilities. Okay, so let's say, okay, the first row here, you can see that the production of butter is 0, meaning you decided to produce only sewing machine. So you will not produce butter. So if you decide that you only want to produce sewing machine, the number of sewing machine that you can produce is 15 units. Okay, so 0 kg of butter, okay, will be in your production. And if you look at the bottom row here, okay, if you decide to produce butter only and you don't want to produce sewing machine, what you can get is 5,000 kgs of butter. Okay, so that is the case if you want to produce only one product. Okay, but what if you want to produce both products? So what are the combination of units that you can get in your production? So let's say if you want to produce 1000 kgs of butter. So what happens to the production of sewing machine here? Okay, you can see that it is reduced to 14. Before this, you can produce 15 because you don't produce any butter. But now you want to produce 1000 kgs of butter, okay, which is here. So now you have to reduce the production of sewing machine from 15 to 14. And if you want to produce more butter from 1000 kg, you want to add, now your production becomes 2000 kg. So you have to reduce the production of sewing machine some more. Now you can only produce 12 units of sewing machine. And as you add more and more and more production of butter, you have to reduce the number of sewing machine, okay, that you can produce. Okay, same thing. Okay, if you want to look at the production of sewing machine, okay, so now let's look at the production of sewing machine. If you want to add more production of sewing machine, so you start from here. Okay, so from 0, you want to produce 5 units of sewing machine. So how much of butter you have to reduce? From 5,000 kg to 4,000 kgs. If you want to add from 5 sewing machine to 9 units of sewing machine, you want to add more production of sewing machine, you have to reduce another 1000 kg of butter. So now you can only produce 3000 kg. Okay, so as you can see, as you move upward here, more sewing machine, lesser butter. More sewing machine, lesser butter. Okay, so what happens here is actually scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. Where does the scarcity happen? Scarcity is when you have limited resources, you have limited capital. Choice happen when you want to produce more sewing machine. Okay, sorry. You want whether you want to produce more sewing machine or you want to produce more butter. That is the kind of decision, the kind of choices that you have to make. So if you want to produce more sewing machine, you have to reduce the production of butter. And if you decide to produce more butter, you have to reduce the number of sewing machine, okay, the production of sewing machine. So the opportunity cost is the number of product that you have to let go, okay, in order for you to produce more of one product. So kalau if let's say you want to produce here from point F to point E, you want to produce additional 5 units of sewing machine. So the opportunity cost of it is you need to reduce 1000 kg of butter. You want to add 4 units of a sewing machine, you have to reduce 1000 kg of butter. Okay, sorry for the mess here because I'm using pen tablet, so it's not really working well. Alright, but hopefully you can understand. Alright, and here from 9 to 12 units of sewing machine, you add another 3 units of sewing machine, so you reduce another 1000 kgs of butter. Okay, so that is opportunity cost here, the number of butter that you have to reduce in order for you to produce more units of sewing machine. Okay, so how do we illustrate this table on a graph? Okay, right, so let's look at the graph. Okay, so this is the graph that is generated from this table. Okay, sorry, I can't get rid of this mess here. So let's proceed here. Okay, so these are the production of butter, 1000 kg, in terms of 1000 kg. So you have 1000 kg, 2000 kg, 3000 and so on. And then these are the units of sewing machine that you can produce. Okay, so this is the explanation that I have made just now. If it allocates all its resources to sewing machine, it will produce at point A. Okay, so point A here, okay, is actually 15 lah. Here, 15. Okay, 15 sewing machine, meaning if you decide to produce 0 kg of butter, you can get 15 units of sewing machine. Okay, now you look at the second explanation here. If it allocates all its resources to butter, you use all your resources to produce butter, okay, it will produce at point F, which is here. Point F means if you produce 0 sewing machine, you can get 5000 kgs of butter. Okay, so that is if you decide to produce only one product, either butter or sewing machine. But Country Jaya produces 2 products. Okay, so they will produce 2 products. So they have to make choices. Okay, if Country Jaya is at point C on the PPC, it can produce a combination of 2000 kg butter and 12,000 units of sewing machine, which is from here. Okay, point C, this row. Okay, so this is point C. Point D shows that the production of 3000 kg butter, okay, is with the combination of 9000 units of sewing machine. So what do we mean by the points on this? This is what we call as production possibilities curve. It shows the combination of sewing machine and butter that you can produce with the resources that you have. Okay, so you see the shape is concave. Okay, concave. Alright, So how do we look at the three terms? Okay, how does the three terms, scarcity, choices, and opportunity cost, are illustrated on the graph? Okay, now let's look at this graph here. So this is actually how I illustrate, or how I show to you where does scarcity happen, where does choices happen, and where is the opportunity cost. Okay, so I'm going to draw it here to make it clearer. Okay, I'll try to make it less messy. Okay, so you will have a this is for butter, this is sewing machine, and this is the PPC, production possibilities curve, which are generated from the table here. Okay, point A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so point A, B, C, D, E, F are here on the curve. Okay, but what happens if there is a production here below the curve? Okay, or let me do a proper point. Okay, let's say there is a point here. Okay, point of production, I put it as Y. Okay, so point Y is what we call as an attainable production. Contoh, let's say point Y is, okay, if you look at this slide, okay, point Y is where the production, there is a production of 12 units of sewing machine and 1000 kg of butter. So that means 12 units of sewing machine and 1 unit of butter, 1000 kg of butter is attainable. You can produce this amount of products. Okay, why? Because you have enough resources. Okay, but you are not fully utilizing the resources. So point Y is actually not an efficient point. Okay, because you are not maximizing the resources that you have. You are not maximizing your profit, the possibilities of you getting higher profit. So what you need to do is, instead of producing at point Y, you move your production to any of the points on the curve. Let's say you produce, instead of 12 sewing machine, you produce 14 sewing machines, which is point B. Okay, which is at point B. So that is efficient. Okay, because it is considered as using, you are considered as using all your resources here. Okay, and then you can also increase the production of butter to 2000 kg. Instead of 1, you can produce 2000 kgs of butter and 12 units of sewing machine, which is at point C. So move your production from Y to either B or C. Okay, so that is attainable production. Okay, so I put it here, waste of resources and inefficiency. Okay, points along the curve here is what we call as choices lah. Okay, what happens if you produce your production is outside the PPC? Let's say at point Z here. Okay, let's say point Z is outside PPC. Okay, so let's say point Z here, meaning you want to produce 16 units of sewing machine and 5000 kgs of butter. So it says here unattainable. Why? Because you don't have enough resources to produce 16 sewing machines and 5000 kgs of butter. You can only produce up to this curve. You cannot produce further than that. Okay, you cannot produce more than 15 units of sewing machine and 5000 kgs of butter. Okay, so that is what we call as scarcity. Point Z here shows scarcity. Okay, any point along the PPC are choices. Movement from one point to another point, let's say from point C to point D to point E, is what we call as opportunity cost. Because moving from point C to point D, meaning in order for you to add more, say let's say here you want to produce from C is 2,000 kgs of butter, you want to add your production to 3,000 kgs of butter. So what will happen is you have to reduce the production of sewing machine from 12 to 10. So there is opportunity cost happening there. Okay, in order for you to produce more butter, you have to reduce the production of sewing machine. So that is opportunity cost. Okay, so that is how the three terms are explained using this production possibilities curve. Okay.